movement that inspires.
I'm a parking gate, and I'm all out of whack. And if you have cut rate car insurance, this could leave you all bent out of shape. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem.
A sunny Saturday here in Athens, Georgia. We're here for the Bulldogs' second game of the day as they host the Radford Highlanders, coming in from the Big South Conference. So we'll get right to the action here. And first pitch for a ball off the plate. In the circle for the Bulldogs, they bring on Rachel Gibson to get the start. Swing and a miss. Lexi Roberts, the hitter, to lead off things for the Highlanders at the plate. We'll get to Gibson in a second. But Georgia coming off a 7-5 victory in Game 1 versus Virginia Tech. Rachel Gibson so far this year only throwing an inning and a third. Today she gets the start. Gibson enters today with a 5.25 ERA, but obviously a very small sample size. And so that one finds the outside part of the zone. Gibson, a transfer from Clemson, makes the short transit down from the South Carolina area and finds herself in Athens. The leadoff walk to Roberts, and that's how things will begin.
First base, number 15, Abby Wilson.
Rachel Gibson, a Georgia native from Ringgold, Georgia, tries to get the bunt down as Wilson. They'll throw over to first, Digby to Kuma, and out number one. So the lineup today for the Radford Highlanders, they'll go Roberts, Wilson, Smith, Barbado, Yates, Lee, Wolf, Jedrick, and Smith. For the Bulldogs defensively, we'll start left to right in the outfield. They go Chambly in left, Goodnight in center, Kearney in right field. And then left to right around the diamond in the infield is Mosley, Armistead, Kuma, Digby. Swing and fouled off there. The catcher in today's contest, Marissa Miller, gets the start behind the plate. So 1-0 to start against the hitter, Rachel Smith. This one goes high, 2-0 to start. Georgia continues with red jerseys, red pants. Radford with the white jerseys and red pants for today's contest. Swung and hit foul down the third baseline. Radford makes the trip down. Playing in the Big South Conference, and they've gotten off to a pretty good start to this season. This one goes high. For Radford, they've started 7-3. It's their second trip to Georgia already on this young season. They spent the first weekend of the D1 season down in Statesboro, Georgia. Swing and a miss, and out number two as Smith goes down swinging. So the cleanup hitter for Radford, Cassie Barbado. Barbado enters with a .357 average as she swings at the first pitch. It's foul down the left side. Two of the 10 hits for Barbado so far on this 3 of the 10 hits on this young season are doubles. This one, a single into right field. Kearney comes up firing, hits the cut. No, they don't. Digby lets it go through. It's an RBI single, and the Highlanders are on the board first.
Catcher, number 16, Emma Yates.
So now Emma Yates will come to the plate. Radford on this young season, 7-3. So far this weekend, they're 2-1. They lost to Virginia Tech in 8 innings, they lost in 6 innings. 16 innings pitched, 1-0 record. She'll have to face off against Emily Digby. First pitch bounces in. Digby got things started in the first game with a leadoff home run. Got moved to the first spot in the lineup, and she stays there in game number 2. This one goes up and in. Swinging on 2-0. Digby hits this foul down the right field line.
Everybody clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands. All right now, everybody clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands.
So 2-1 at the plate. Digby swings through that one. Swinging, hit on the ground towards third. Lead fields it and fires over to first for out number 1. Our umpires for today's contest behind the plate is Jill Poole, at first base Don Brown, and at third base John Cambridge. We saw a couple reviews in the Virginia Tech-Georgia game earlier today. Big swing and a miss from Jada Kearney. She came up with a big 3-run home run in game number 1. We'll try to start out game number 2 maybe in a similar fashion. Can't quite do it for the 3-run variety as this pitch comes bouncing in. The 1-1, a bit high. Jada swings through strike number 2. Kearney just high and outside takes ball 3. The count now runs full. Kearney swings, lifts this towards the left center field gap, going back and gone. A 2-home run day for Jada Kearney. We said she was going to try to do the same thing, and she does come up with her second home run of the day. And there, Kearney just drives it over the left center field wall. Out of room went Roberts and Smith. And into the construction zone for the first run for the Bulldogs. Now we look back live to Lindy Ray Davis, who had a 3-run home run of her own in the first game today. So 2-0 to Davis at the plate now. Davis helps provide some power in this Georgia lineup. 3 home runs on the season. She'll hit this sharply over to Barbado at second, who fields it in time and throws to first. So Davis's ground out will give way to Kuma, the cleanup hitter. Kuma with a big swing through strike one. Kuma looking for hit number 20 in this young season. Foul to the net, 0-2 count. Kuma, the 5th-year senior. Ball one taken at the plate, 1-2. Kuma hits this one sharply to right field. It lands fair. Wolf couldn't get it. Kuma rounding second, heading towards third. She's in for a stand-up triple as it gets away, but she'll stay at third. A 2-out stand-up triple from Sydney Kuma. So now we'll see a bit of a meeting in the circle. It's been 2 hard hits for Georgia so far. The one from Kearney and the triple from Kuma. Kuma's triple gives way to Chambly, the left fielder. Comes into this game hitting .263 with runners in scoring position. Or excuse me, .231 with runners in scoring position, .263 with runners on. Chambly trying to pick up her 13th RBI of the year as she shows bunt early. She'll pull back, take ball 2. The 2-0. Make it 3-0. Chambly takes strike one on the outside corner. The 3-1, Chambly hits it into left field. Kuma will score, and Chambly gets an RBI single. Chambly's RBI single will allow Sarah Mosley now to step in the batter's box. Taking off is Chambly down to second. Ball does not stay in Smith's glove. So Chambly gets in safely to second. Sarah Mosley 0 for 3 in game 1. Lifted down the right field line and out of play. Mosley went 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts in game 1, but Georgia able to pick up the victory. Mosley looking to pick up her first hit of the day. Mosley takes off speed. Now down in the count 1-2. That gets away from the catcher Yates. And Chambly advances to third. It was a high fastball. And the pass ball allows Chambly to now stand 60 feet away. Mosley lifts it in the air near the first base line, but off the net, foul ball. Two-two count, 2 outs. Mosley just gets a piece. Mosley taking inside, gets ball 3. Big 3-2 coming with 2 outs in the first. Peace delivers. Swing and a miss. Mosley goes down. The Bulldogs respond with 2. Take back the lead. We'll head to the second. Amanda Lee will step to the plate for the Highlanders. And the Bulldogs come back out on defense with the lead. Swing and a miss from Lee. Gibson is maybe a bit of a wild card, so to speak, on this roster for Georgia. She gets the call for strike 2. We mentioned she is a transfer from Clemson. Now at Clemson, she didn't make too many appearances. Only appeared in the circle twice, one in 2022 and the second time in 2023. But here she comes to Georgia and has already appeared multiple times this young season. It certainly add another dimension to the pitching staff they have in place. Is Lee able to get a piece of that one? The 1-2, outside corner, too far off. 2-2 now the count. Swing and a miss. Down goes Lee.
Now batting, right fielder, number 20, Amber
So
Wolf.
Gibson picks up a strikeout. Another swing and a miss, this time from Amber Wolf. Amber Wolf, the third baseman today for the Highlanders. Radford already playing their fourth game of the weekend. Again, they played 2 yesterday. This is their second today. Just fouled off down into the dirt. Or excuse me, Amber Wolf mistakenly said she's the third baseman. She is the right fielder today. It was Amanda Lee that was previously up as the third baseman. A liner foul down the right field line. This Radford Highlander squad led by Elisa Tassler. And her third season coming from Roanoke College. And maybe not quite the season they wanted last year for the Highlanders, but like we said, they're off to a much better start this year. Last year, they certainly had some underclassmen on the roster, relied on some freshmen and sophomores. So now you return quite a few with a whole year of college experience. And the Highlanders looking to grow upon that this year. This is chopped over foul. Gibson picks up her third strikeout of the afternoon. So Gibson entered today. And of course, very early part of the season, but had only thrown an inning and a third. She already has thrown more today, now an inning and 2/3. Hit over to Digby at first, who will step on the bag for out number 3. Much quieter second inning for the Highlanders, or we should say at least the first start of the weekend for Miller. Miller takes pitch 1 for ball 1. Miller comes into today, only 3 at-bats recorded on the season. She launches this a mile high in the infield and caught by Smith for out number 1. Ellie Armistead now comes to the plate. Armistead, first pitch swinging down the right field line, just out of reach and a foul ball. Armistead helps shore up certainly the defensive side of things in the diamond for the Georgia Bulldogs. has been their shortstop now for a few years. Now finds herself in her senior year here in a Bulldog uniform. Swings again, this time foul down the other side. Now 0-2, runs a bit inside, ball one. Armistead sharply hit down the third base line. She rounds first, takes a look, she's heading towards second, and she's around the tag and safe at second. Now we're going to see a bit of an umpire conference here. And so now Coach Tony Baldwin for Georgia will come and talk to Ellie Armistead. Armistead came in on a Dallas Goodnight now steps in. Takes first pitch up high. Goodnight was 2 for 3 in game 1 versus Virginia Tech this afternoon. Just out of reach of the third baseman Lee that time. Foul ball. Goodnight swings through that. 1-1 count now. It's Armistead that stands off second. Now the pitch. Goodnight right back to the circle. What a catch by Abby Peace. Look what I found. It ends up in the glove. And out number 2 in the inning. Goodnight hit a liner. Here, we'll take another look. The pitch in from Peace right back to her. And then tried to get the runner Armistead off second. Turning quick on it. Down the left field line is Digby, but it's foul. So Digby comes up for the second time in as many innings. Peace bounces that pitch to the plate. 1-1 with the off speed. The 1-1. Digby swings through it. We're starting to see Emily Digby become a huge part of this Georgia lineup. And now at the top of the order. Digby fouls this one off the net. Of course, a freshman contributor finding herself in the mix at first base and now finding herself at the top of the order as the leadoff hitter today. Digby hits this one solidly to right field. It's over Wolf's head, back to the wall. 1 run scores, and Digby goes in standing up at second. So a line drive shot to right field, and it ends up scoring a run for the Bulldogs. Now Jana Kearney comes back to the plate. Home run her first time up. Kearney hits it over to third, fired over to first from Lee, and out number 3. Georgia puts up another run in the bottom half of the second. They lead it 3-1 as we head to the third. Howard out of Macon, Georgia, the sophomore, made 10 appearances last year in the circle. This will be her first appearance this year for Georgia as she fires in first pitch at 68 miles per hour. Destin was someone in the mix last year in the circle, now getting her first appearance. She worked 14 total innings last year. Destin Howard was someone that was brought up in our interview, in our meeting with Coach Tony Baldwin earlier in the week. Hit sharply down the third base line, but foul. Howard's name got brought up when we were talking to Tony Baldwin kind of about where the program is with Georgia and everything that's happening around it and sort of the culture they're building, so to speak. Just off the plate, they were looking for the ring up there. And of course, when you see the shots that our great crew provides, especially down the left field line, you see kind of the elephant in the room, a huge building being built out behind left field. Of course, that's part of the new softball facility they're building out here at the Turner softball complex, and that's expected to be open this time next year by January 2025, as another one goes foul. But Tony Baldwin said he wants to make this the best spot to come play college softball in the nation. It certainly doesn't hurt when you have that 3 up there next to the scorebug, signaling you're one of the best teams in the nation. Foul ball in the box. No, it isn't. It's fair. They mark it fair. And that's out number 1. It looked like Emily Smith maybe thought that hit her in the box. But regardless, it's a fair ball, out number 1 recorded. And so back to the top of the lineup with Lexi Roberts. But when we talked to Tony Baldwin, you know, now it's his 3rd season at the head, being the head coach and being the man in charge for this program. And we asked him whether or not he was kind of getting settled in to the position and kind of they're getting towards the end of not necessarily the goal, but where they want to be building towards. Liner over Armistead's head that was playing in. And so a base knock for Lexi Roberts, who gets on. For Baldwin, he made it sound like they want to, you know, keep building and that, you know, every year is kind of presented with a new challenge. But the reason why he believes this can be and is going to be the number 1 place to play softball in college is because not only are you going to a top 20 academic university, but I mean, it's a number 3 program in the country. He brought up Destin Howard because Destin actually had to leave practice early one day to make sure that she could go study and take an exam. And it was brought up that, you know, other coaches maybe wouldn't allow that or other programs wouldn't allow that, but because Georgia being such a high academic school You know, they find themselves, student athletes, in the predicament to be both the student and the athlete. And so Destin Howard, not in the exam room today, but she's in the circle. Has a runner on first, 2-1 count at the plate. Down low, ball 3. The 3-1. Swung on, hit to Kuma, over to Armstead. What a glove flip, double play! Taylor may get Virginia Tech, and here in game 2 leading Radford, the Highlanders, 3-1. It's Lindy Ray Davis, the designated player, that will lead things off in the 3rd inning for the Georgia Bulldogs. So after a bit of the delay, we'll as Davis lifts it into shortstop, Smith fields it. So after the delay, 1 pitch, 1 out for Abby Peace in the circle. So now Sydney Kuma comes back up. The average still north of 600 on the season. And so when we look at Sydney Kuma, where does she stand amongst some of the other leaders in college softball? Well, when it comes to qualified bats heading into this weekend, she was ranked 4th in the country. And of course, we say qualified bats, it's too early in the season, so it's pretty much everyone. But entered this weekend hitting at 680. Only 3 players in the country had a higher batting average. But Kuma has continued to come up with big hits. And now Kuma finds herself with a 4-pitch walk. So Chambly now, 367 average, 4 home runs on the year. This time she lays down a bunt right in front of home plate. She's out at first, but advances Kuma to second. So they'll trade the out for advancing Kuma to second. And now Sarah Mosley comes up. Peace bounces that one towards the plate, ball 1. Sarah Mosley on her 5th year as she bounces this to Smith at short. And so a quick inning for the Highlanders. Kuma reaches base via the walk, but no other runners aboard. Head to the 4th, Howard out for her 2nd inning of work in the circle.
Shortstop number 6, Rachel Smith.
So Rachel Smith up for the 2nd time today in the box for the Highlanders. She struck out her 1st time out. And so we didn't get to it last inning. But for Gibson, She officially goes so far 2 innings. She gave up 1 hit on 1 run, 1 walk, but had 3 strikeouts. So far, Howard's come in and pitched a clean 3rd inning, looking for a clean 4th inning here. Howard delivers the 1-1. Outside corner, catches the zone. The 1-2 hit over near the Radford dugout. Looks like it gets away from everyone down there. The 2-2. Swung through, first strikeout of the season for Destin Howard. So now Cassie Barbado, the second baseman, had an RBI single in the 1st inning, and that's how the Highlanders have a run on the board. This runs inside. Now push the count to 2-0. Chopped over Armistead's reach of the glove, and another single for Barbado.
Catcher number 16, Emma Yates.
So now runner on first with 1 down in the inning. Emma Yates the first time up. Grounded over to 3rd base. Shows to bunt. This one gets by. And now down to 2nd goes Barbado, advancing. So got by Miller, the catcher for Georgia, but able to go and get it quick enough to at least force a throw down to 2nd. This one kept in front of Miller. The 2-1. Swung on and hit out of play, foul. Hit over to Mosley at 3rd, checks the runner, fires over to 1st. Out number 2. Mosley, who has been playing great this weekend down at 3rd base, ranked coming in to this year the number 3rd best 3rd baseman in the country by D1 softball. So not a bad athlete to have in your infield. Swung and hit towards Kearney in right field, turned around, but she makes the grab. Radford strands a runner at second. We'll head to the home half of the fourth. Bulldogs lead it 3-1. Abby Peace looking for a fourth inning of work. So far today, giving up a walk, has a strikeout, and has limited this powerful Georgia offense to only 3 runs so far. Miller hits this towards the Georgia dugout, foul, and back to the circle for Peace.
Everybody clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands. Clap, clap, clap.
Miller hit over to shortstop where Smith fields and gets out number 1. Now Ellie Armistead comes to the plate. Armistead, we said earlier, kind of shored up that shortstop position for the Bulldogs. And, of course, not only talking about this year, but she made 43 starts as a freshman in 2021. Made 56 starts as a sophomore and started all 57 games last year at shortstop. She's what you call a Sharpie in the lineup, and she gets essentially penciled in there every time for Coach Tony Baldwin. So 2-1, the count works against her. Armistead comes from Matthews, Virginia, and finds herself in a Bulldog uniform. Armistead hits it to her shortstop counterpart, Smith, for out number 2. Now Dallas Goodnight steps into the box. Had a much more productive day so far. Picked up 2 hits earlier in game 1 versus Virginia Tech. Essentially making the swap to put Digby at first and now move Goodnight to the 9 spot. Goodnight watches that one go by. Ball 2. Goodnight swings through pitch 3, strike 1. That first time up, Goodnight hit the liner back to Abby Peace. And now ahead in the count 3-1. Peace fires just off the plate. 5-pitch walk to Goodnight and turns it back to the top of the order for Digby and the Bulldogs. So Digby comes back up, hit a double her last time up in the second inning. This time squares the bunt, little bunt and run on, but Goodnight gets down and steals. So Goodnight into second safely, 1-0 count as the pitch was called a ball. hit a mile high into the infield, trailing over to the second baseman, Barbado, and she makes out number 3. Heading to the 5th inning here on the SEC Network. Georgia leads it still 3-1. 2 innings, she's done a very nice job. She's picked up a strikeout. She's only given up 2 hits. And a very all-important goose egg on the walk stat. So Destin Howard fires in. It'll be ball 1. Amber Wolf leads it off for the Highlanders this inning. Wolf struck out her first time up. That was against Rachel Gibson. This time, hit sharply over to Kuma, who fields and fires for an out in plenty of time over to first. Howard's looked really good coming on in relief today here for Georgia. Of course, we said that she had made multiple double-digit appearances last year, but hadn't had the opportunity this year to be in the circle yet, and so far, so good from Destin Howard, who throws first pitch strike. It's Shedrick that hits it over to Kuma. Backhand this time, fires over to first, out number 2. 2 ground balls to Kuma, 2 outs.
Now batting left fielder, number 7,
Emily Smith had that weird, awkward play where the ball was hit off the bat, but it appeared she thought it had hit her in the box, so she did not run. But it was hit in fair territory. The umpire called it a fair ball, and she was out via the ground out to the catcher. Sharply hit past Mosley, and that'll be a single for Smith this time. It's not too often you get to see the ground out to the catcher in the scorebook, but Smith has that on the card today, and now also has a single on the card.
Now batting center field, number 14, Lexi Roberts.
So Howard gives up her 3rd hit of the day. The corner infielder's in with the slap hitter. Fielded, thrown over in time from Armistead to Digby. A quick inning for the Bulldogs. Get on your feet. We'll stretch it out here. It's the 5th inning stretch as we'll head to the bottom half of the 5th. 3 runners on base. We look at the box score. Radford 1 run on 4 hits. And Georgia 3 runs on 5 hits. Now Kearney steps back in. Grounded out to the 3rd baseman last time up, but had that home run in her first appearance. Kearney looking for what would be, well, she already has 2 home runs today. And looking for her 3rd hit today. Kearney gets a piece of it, fouls it back to the net. So 1-1. Runs inside to Kearney. Peace has done a really, really solid job in the circle today for the Highlanders. Gave up 2 runs in the first and 1 run in the second, but has really settled in and controlled against this heavy-hitting Georgia offensive lineup. They'll go to 3 balls, 1 strike. Kearney will take the 5-pitch leadoff walk, as we'll see a pinch hitter come into the game. It's into the designated player spot of Lindy Ray Davis, as now we'll see Jaden Fields come in and pinch hit for her. Jaden Fields, a graduate student out of Kennesaw, Georgia, has spent time in a Bulldog uniform and has graduated from the university, was a member of their sports media program, as that's something that maybe she possibly looks to expand on after her playing days are over. But right now her playing days aren't over. She has a 1-0 count. That one high in the zone 2-0. Field so far 18 at-bats, hitting .278 on the season. We'll see a conference in the circle. So after the conference in the circle, it's a 2-0 count back to the plate. Jaden swings through strike one. Fields comes into today with 2 doubles on the season and 2 RBIs. That taken for ball 3. We also saw when the pinch hitter came in, a pinch runner as well. It was Haley Eaton that pinch runs for Jada Kearney. So she's on first now. And Jaden Fields will try to loop this into right field. She does. And diving in fast enough is Haley Eaton. So Fields able to drop it in the perfect spot. And now runners on first and second. Sydney Kuma now up to the plate. She squares the bunt. Foul ball. Georgia looks like trying to advance those runners. 0-1 count, no outs. Kuma hits a liner down the right field line, but just happens to go foul. Kuma down quickly, 0-2. Kuma lays off the off speed, and it's able to bounce it over to the second baseman, Barbado. So beats out a potential double play, and now runners on the corners for the Bulldogs. Runners on the corner, Sydney Chambly comes to the plate, hitting .286 on the season with runners in scoring position. Swing and a miss. Kuma's off towards second. They try to run a cutoff play. Eaton back in time at third. So Kuma takes the bag. Now runners on second and third. Chambly showing bunt. Goes back. Fouled off the bat. 0-2 now at the plate. Chambly lifts this down the left field line. It's going foul, and it's out of play. Good effort by Smith to try to get over there, but ultimately not enough room. Chambly can come up with a base hit. It could potentially get her 14th and 15th RBI of the season. Take that one off the plate. 1-2 now. The 1-2 pitch. Off the plate again. Chambly from Dallas, Georgia. A senior now for the Bulldogs. Skied up in the infield. First baseman comes in, Wilson. Out number 2. Tony Baldwin now comes to the home plate umpire. It looks like we're going to see another change. So we'll see a pinch hitter come into the game. It's going to be, it's Hannah Davila. Hannah Davila that comes into the game. Davila, the freshman, gets brushed back on the first pitch. Davila only has 2 at-bats on the season. Has a hit, though. But this is her 5th plate appearance of the season. She's drawn 2 walks as well. Off speed off the mark again, 2-0. You do have a free bag to pitch around Davila, essentially, but you would get to the catcher spot with Miller. Runs inside again, so 3-0 quickly. Swinging on 3-0 and lifted towards center field. Roberts makes the catch, and the Highlanders get out of the jam. It's a 2-run contest. We'll step aside. We'll be back for the 6th inning action here on the SEC Network.
Fans, take a look down in right field. It's a bird.
Back. And she'll come on in the 6th inning here for the Bulldogs. Backus last year, all ACC second team, all ACC tournament team. That was at North Carolina. Now makes the transfer and comes over to Athens. Oh, 0-1 to start. Finds the plate, strike 2. There's something about Coach Tony Baldwin and picking up these transfer pitchers from the ACC is what it seems like. And Backus is another one that fits that model of coming from the ACC and being a transfer that now finds themselves in a Georgia Bulldog uniform. She led the Tar Heels in 2023 with a 2.79 ERA, lifted towards Chambly in left field and caught for out number 1. Backus led the Tar Heels with a 2.79 ERA and 180 2/3 innings pitched. She had a whopping 156 strikeouts, and she tossed 15 complete games, including 5 of those being shutouts.
Now batting shortstop number 6, Rachel Smith.
So First pitch is a ball. 1-0 they'll start. In the past, she's been ranked the number 40th pitcher in the country according to D1 softball. Hit over to Kuma on the ground, flipped over to first to Digby, out number 2.
Second baseman, number 13, Cassie Barbado.
And so 2 quick outs for Lily Backus. It's Barbado that comes back up. She's 2 for 2 on the day. 2 singles. She's the lone Highlander to drive in a run. Hit on a line up through the middle of the infield, and a 3 for 3 day for Cassie Barbado. So the Barbado single gives way to Emma Yates. Hit foul by Yates, the first pitch. When we look at Backus and her stats this year, the most hits that she's given up in a game was against Florida State in 2 2/3 innings, but it certainly did not hurt to have 20 runs and support by our offense that game. She's pitched twice this year over 3 innings. That was against Wisconsin, UCLA, and South Dakota. Kuma going to the middle of the infield, flips to Armistead and gets the out. Kuma making a couple really half of the 6th. And we'll have a pinch hitter for the Bulldogs as it's Tyler Ellison that enters into the game, into the catcher's spot, which was Marissa Miller. So it'll be Ellison hitting for Miller. Ellison on the season only recorded 3 at-bats. She's struck out, she's walked. She's also scored a run, looking for her first hit this season. Ellison takes 2 off the plate. Now 2-0. Ellison recorded a hit last year and made 19 appearances for the Bulldogs. Runs inside, but catches the zone that time. So 2-1 it goes. The 2-1 hit sharply over to Smith at short. And in plenty of time, out number 1. So 1 down, now Armistead comes to the plate. Armistead had the double her first time up. Grounded out to the shortstop her last time. 1 for 2 in today's contest. Big swing and a miss from Armistead. Count goes even at 1. Doesn't find the zone, 2-1 now. It's a senior-heavy roster with returners and grad students. People like Armistead and Mosley and Kuma. Feels like this could be the year Georgia could put it all together. Obviously, they want to make it back to Oklahoma City, and they feel that this may be the year they can do it. Up and away, with 5-pitch walk for Armistead. So now Dallas Goodnight comes up. Goodnight's lined out and walked. First pitch swinging to left field. Smith's over there, can't make the play, but it's foul. Smith couldn't make the play. And so they'll reset with Goodnight back to the plate and Armistead back to first. Runner taken off, Armistead, it's in safely, throw gets to right field, and she'll go and take third now too. So first and third via the steal and the throw getting away. And now a runner in scoring position for Dallas Goodnight. Goodnight swings, launches it up into the air towards the left fielder Smith, makes the play this time, and she thought it was 3 outs. Tagging up now is Armistead, who scores. Smith thought it was the 3rd out in the inning and just underhand tossed the ball in. It allows Armistead to score, and now it's 4-1. Brings back up Digby, but they'll take a time to talk it over. And so 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th here, as they'll see the coach come out and talk things over. For Radford, they're coming off a season last year where they struggled, to put things a bit bluntly. They went 16-34, only 5-16 in conference. But here's the silver lining if you're a Highlanders fan. This season, they started out 7-3. They took a trip down to Statesboro, Georgia. They had a successful weekend there. They've beat Bucknell in a doubleheader, and they've come down here to Georgia. They've beat Dartmouth twice. They got beat by Virginia Tech yesterday, but they've hung in here against the 3rd-ranked team in the country, the Bulldogs. And on Tuesday, they'll get another good chance in another Power 5 school, being Virginia, which they'll host for a doubleheader. So a lot of opportunities coming up here for the Highlanders to keep growing on this season. So 2-0 now. So now 2-0 to the plate. Will run inside, but catches the play 2-1. Digby comes in here as a freshman after coming off a senior season where she set high school records in her high school for the best career batting average, the most runs, the most RBIs, the most hits, the most doubles, the most home runs and walks. I mean, quite literally, I think she owns the record book at her former high school. And now the leadoff spot here for the Georgia Bulldogs, as this time she takes a walk, but is solidifying herself into this Georgia Bulldog lineup. Looks like we'll see another change from Tony Baldwin, as Jada Kearney will re-enter into her spot to hit. So Kearney comes back in. So Digby off first. Kearney first pitch swinging, fouls it back. Abby Peace has gone 5 2/3 innings so far today. Has been really, really solid for the Highlanders in the circle. This one outside, so 1-1 now. She only has 1 strikeout today, but hasn't induced a whole lot of hard contact against her. The Bulldogs have had their moments, but Peace has kept them at bay. Kearney fouls this one off again. Abby Peace now over 110 pitches thrown today. And Kearney waits on the off speed and hits it through the infield into left field. Gets away from the third baseman, taken off is Digby to third, and so will Kearney advancing. Now runners on second and third. Throw just got away from Lee, and the runner's able to advance an extra 60 feet. Looks like we're going to see a substitute from Radford, as they're going to put in a new left fielder, as they're going to have Abby Bossler come into the game. And so with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning, Abby Bossler will come on as a defensive replacement for the Highlanders. It's Jaden Fields back up for the Bulldogs. Had a single her first time up. Fields swinging, launches it into right field, going back and gone! Jaden Fields delivers the home run. So make it 7-1 now, as Radford gives up the opposite field home run. It brings Bulldogs fans to their feet. And the Highlanders just trying to get that last out in the 6th inning. The Bulldogs now burst for 4 runs in the 6th inning to make it a 7-1 game. Kuma now steps in, and that'll be called 1-0. Kuma had that stand-up triple earlier in the game. She's 1 for 3. Runs inside, ball 2. So Fields goes opposite field and hits it out to right field. Of note, the wind not really helping today, but is blowing from left to right. Down the middle finds the strike zone. So 3-1 now. Hit through the infield for their second hit of the day for Kuma, and she's going to try to turn this into a double, and she does. Looked like it was going to be a single, and she ends up with a double. So now Sydney Chambly comes to the plate.
Sydney Chambly.
Chambly 1 for 3 on the day. Kuma on second. Chambly up and in, but lays off of it. That finds the strike zone for Peace, so now 1-1. The 1-1 pitch out of the zone, 2-1. So for the Highlanders, they came out, they put up 1 run in the top of the first. That's all they've been able to get since then. And Georgia responded with 2 in the first, but it was 3-1 entering this inning, and since then, Georgia and the offense has bursted onto the scene. The 3-1. Chambly lays off of it, but it's strike 2. So 3-2 now. 2 down, runner on second. Just off the plate, ball 4. So bring on Sarah Mosley. And it looks like we're going to see a new pitcher come to the circle. And so there's the circle for the Highlanders. .51 ERA, 3-0 in the win-loss column. She's pitched 13 2/3 innings, giving up 14 hits on the season and only 1 run. So Sarah Mosley comes to the plate. Off speed, finds the zone. 0-1. Mosley lifts it out to right field. It's going, and it's gone! That'll do it for the Bulldogs. It's a walk-off home run. 10-1, and the Bulldogs win via the run rule. Mosley picks up a home run on a day where the Bulldogs offense erupts.